So, welcome to the podcast. I have to admit, I'm kind of starstruck with this one. Welcome to the podcast, Matt MacIsaac. Matt, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Rob. This is great. I've heard lots about your show, and everyone's been on here, and this is really great. I'm super pumped to be on it as
Wow,
well.
you've heard about us? Oh,
Of
God.
course, absolutely.
Oh, I
Everywhere,
hope it's all good. Yeah.
we're everywhere.
Well, that's it. If you're a piper at all, we are the show for the piping folks. So that's what it's about. But
That's what we need. We need more piping shows. This is amazing.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Matt, I have you on the show. We're going to talk about quite an exciting gig that you have coming up in January of next year. We'll talk more about that. But first of all, I wanted to kind of introduce you to people who may not be aware of who you are. So, do you want to give us a little bit of an overview of what you're currently doing at the moment?
Sure. Yeah. I am from Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia. Right now, I'm teaching piping at St. Andrews College, which is an independent boys' school here in Ontario.
Yes.
And they've had a piping program here for a long time. But Jim McGilvery actually started this current academic program that's going on now. I started working with him a few years ago, part time, kind of coming in on Tuesday afternoons to teach the wee ones, and I just kind of stuck around for this or that, played in some concerts with them, and when he decided to step back, then that was just kind of a transition that we made. So that was really cool. So that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're also obviously heavily involved in continuing to play live in various performances, and that's kind of a teaser what we're going to be chatting about in a minute or two. But I do want to mention that, your piping pedigree, you've had quite an awesome career in the piping scene, if you don't mind me saying so, with quite a wealth of experience. How did you first come to the bagpipes? What made you lift the instrument?
You know what? I felt like I was going to say that I didn't have a choice. It wasn't that I didn't have a choice. It was everywhere, and it was just always something that I was going to do. And I always, from the very beginning, my three uncles on my mom's side, or three brothers, Kenny, Alan, and Ian Mackenzie, they all play the pipes, and they've been playing since they were kids. So whenever mom was at the home in Cape Breton, they'd be playing and stuff, and there'd be parties, and there'd be fiddles and pianos and stuff. And from when she was expecting me, it was just bagpipes all the time.
That's it. Yeah.
So growing up, I was listening to Ozzy and Battlefield Band and Bothy Band and all sorts of great musicians. And so that was just kind of a natural thing. I was obsessed with it when I was a kid. It's still there, but yeah, I was just kind of thrown into it.
It was inevitable, really. Then,
it was,
as you say, you were surrounded with that musical culture, and it was just, that wasn't a matter of will you; it's a matter of when, kind of thing.
It wasn't. Some people see them when they're 10 years old in the parade and they want to do it, and I never knew life without them, so it was just kind of always around. Yeah.
That's it. So from that, then obviously with lifting the instrument for the first time, how did you? Well, who was your first tutor? I suppose. Who started teaching you?
Well, my uncle certainly showed me some stuff, but I never really had formal lessons with them because they lived. We moved a lot, and we weren't always in the same place. Two of them were in the military, so they were always kind of posted away as well. So I had a couple of different tutors. We were also very lucky in St. Peter's in Cape Breton that Dr. Angus MacDonald was the GP there. So he was living there for a number of years. Right. So he was the family doctor for a lot of them. And luckily I got to have some really great formative lessons with him when I was young. Sporadically, it wasn't regular because we weren't living there, but whenever we were home, I got to get into the lesson with him, which was huge. And I was really lucky to have him around. I started my first experience with lessons, I think, was the College of Piping in Summerside in PEI. So in Prince Edward Island, which is the smallest province in Canada. Scott McCauley had just moved there, and Scott was a really well-known piping figure from Ontario, larger than life kind of guy, fantastic player. And he had Roddy R.S. McDonald and Ian Spears was over. He was only, I don't know how old he was. He was probably 20. 18 maybe. I was 10, and there was a camp. So for 2 weeks, I was kind of just amongst all these guys, these great players, and I still have pictures of it with the kilt kind of like 3 inches above my knee and big teeth sticking out and stuff. My little chanter.
Yeah.
So that was the first kind of intensive, piping camp, piping lessons.
I see.
And,
yeah. There you go. Can I ask you about your involvement in the band scene then? Obviously, do you want to give a bit of your history then with bands? How did you get into that scene?
Yeah, so we lived in New Brunswick, which is there's 4 Atlantic provinces. I don't know how much your listeners know about Canadian geography, but New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland, which is off the coast. They're all one little clump kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And in New Brunswick, where we lived, we were close enough to Fredericton, where I could go join their grade 4. They had a grade 4 and a grade 2 band, the Fredericton Society of St. Andrews.
Yeah.
And it was a strong, like they had a great, they still do, they have a program there, but it was a great, thriving teaching program there. There wasn't really anyone locally that had, well, I don't know how I say this, but skills, I guess, to teach someone that wanted to take it further and further.
Yeah.
So I went to Fredericton. I started in the grade 4 band there when I was 12. And then when I was 13, I guess I moved up to the grade 2 band. And then when my family got moved again to Halifax, my dad his job moved. So we went to Halifax, and I started playing with Halifax Police under Doug Boyd. And then John Walsh actually was living in Nova Scotia as well. John, who played with the 78th Frasers when they won the Worlds, of course, and BCAL in the day, and Shots. And he's one of the most musical players I've ever heard. And he didn't compete solo, so you don't see his name very much. I don't know how much of a household name. Well, he is, but not the same kind of whatever celebrity maybe as other people that competed a lot. But John was the pipe major of Halifax for a number of years when I was in my teens, so that was very, very helpful too. I was really lucky to just kind of stumble upon these amazing players that were in the area for whatever reason, and just kind of I just kind of sponged everything that I could off of them. So that was really that's it. Great.
So really
Halifax.
After that, I was just about to say. So that's kind of throughout all of your journey in piping, with your influence of your family, your surroundings, and your bands, that has helped shape you as a musician and your playing, almost, you would say. Yeah,
absolutely. Of course it did. Yeah. Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, just having those influences. At the time, I wasn't consciously saying, oh, that person, I want to get this from them. I want to get this. It was just, I've never been that kind of person anyway. I'm kind of like, I just take things as they come to me and just kind of hold on to them, I guess. Even if it's subconsciously. And I was just lucky, really, really lucky to be in those places at those times.
There you go. It's fantastic. Well, we have a number of questions in from listeners, and possibly one of the most asked questions is your solo performances, Matt, at various concerts and gigs. They're probably the most memorable point in any night for everyone who listens. Can you tell us about the construction of your solo? All right, because to describe it to people won't do it justice. It starts in one place and then skyrockets somewhere else. Is this somewhere or something that you actively work on your solo performances?
Kind of. For solo performances, like I was touring with a fiddle player called Natalie McMaster for a number of years, and she's very well known in the Celtic music world, and we played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows together. So she let me have this kind of spot. She wanted to have the pipes featured, so I came up with this solo, and I just wanted to. It started out me playing, whatever tunes I wanted to play, and then I started throwing in stuff, like just funny things that I thought would be neat for people to hear. And then
Yeah.
they reacted to it. And then I would just try to kind of build on that. I never really I never wrote anything down. So
Really?
nothing,
Wow.
nothing is ever written down. I'm always just kind of like making it up. And then I'll practice that little, if I come up with something and it works, then I'll take that and I'll practice that for, a couple minutes and then I'll try to work it in. But
yeah. If anything, that kind of answers a bunch of my other questions then, because guys have seen you in concert and have said that they always look forward to if you ever have a solo, because they know there's going to be completely different from the one that they've already heard, because every solo performance is different. And that isn't, an accident then in that case, they're all done off the cuff, that kind of thing, on a feeling, really.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's hard to explain, I guess. It's just whatever happens in the moment.
Just happens. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. we've also received a whole load of questions because
Awesome.
obviously, Matt, you are quite a prolific composer and arranger of tunes. And recently, actually, for those who are listening, if you haven't checked out Matt's YouTube channel, by the way, oh my God, you're missing a trick. And if anything, your arrangement of the Mason's Apron arrangement. Oh my God.
I can't
Simply
take
incredible.
credit for that whole thing though. I mean, the most famous, the one that stuck out for me when I first heard it was obviously Stuart
Oh,
Little's thing at Carnegie Hall. I
mm.
remember hearing that when I was that was 1996. I think they did that
Wow. Was that
tape.
as long ago as that?
I think so.
Wow. Yeah.
I think so. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember listening to it like I've never heard anything like this in my life. And
Yeah.
so there's elements of that in there. You know, there's that's kind of like that was the basis of it, and I just kind of
Mm.
added stuff. You know, that
There you
was
go.
kind of what I did.
That's
But thank
fantastic.
you. I'm glad you like it.
Oh man, like, as I've said this at the start, I'm a huge fan, honestly, and it's something that we wanted to ask you about your approach to arranging and composing. Is it something where you say, right, today, Matt, I'm going to arrange something for this tune, or I'm going to compose something new, or whatever? Is it something that you actively focus on, or does it just happen?
It just happens,
It
and
just
you know what?
happens.
I can't I can't say that I don't feel like I'm a composer or an arranger at all. I don't.
Really?
I wouldn't put no. I wouldn't put
Oh.
myself in that category. There are some people who are composers, like
Mm.
Mike Gray is a composer, and
Yes.
you know there are. I'm just going to blank now on a whole bunch of great composers out there.
Mm.
Um, People that sit down and plan it out. Not plan it out. I'm not going to speak about Mike's process, but
Mhm.
people that are prolific and put out like a bunch of tunes, a bunch of things that get picked up by other people and other bands.
Yeah.
I've only written like I don't know 4 or 5 tunes. I
Oh,
think.
really? No, I thought it
Yeah.
was more than that. Well, but there you
No.
go.
No. Only a handful, and
Yeah.
so that's you know I like the couple of tunes that I wrote, but I wouldn't consider myself a composer. An arranger, maybe, but I don't. But that's just kind of whatever I want to play in the moment. And
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's fun. I find it hard to play the same thing twice. So I really do. And in the band, when I had a grade 2 band a couple of years ago called 400 Squadron, and when I was making the medleys, the the guys would laugh because they knew that whatever tune it wasn't gonna, like each line was going to be a little bit different. It's going to be similar, but there'll be some kind of little thing in there that they'd have to get their hands around.
Yeah. There'd
Um,
be something and pay
yeah,
attention
so
for it.
it's
Yeah.
like I can't stop kind of trying to improv something or improvise something in the moment.
But there's something
But
beautiful in that freedom, though. Do you know what I mean? That there's something there. There's an element to it. Yeah.
yeah, I love it. I love listening to other people do that, and maybe that's why I do it so much because I appreciate it so much, and I try to. I don't know how hard I try at this point. Like when you do it, it's like it's a skill, I guess. You do it over and over again, and you get better at it, and it makes more sense when you're in the moment of music. You know you have 2 beats until the next theme note that you need to play because that's still the tune, right? There's some things you can throw out because they're just connecting notes or whatever. So that's where you put your little doodads or
There you
whatever it might
go.
be.
Yeah. You filigree. I think somebody called it once. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Filigree.
Yeah.
There you are. So honestly, it's yeah, for your YouTube channel, I have to talk more about your YouTube videos, man, because they're honestly, I have watched that latest video possibly an unhealthy amount of times. So
That's
you
good.
play everything on these, you know, all of the backing instruments, obviously the piping element, but all of it is you. And can you tell us about your approach to that? You know, do you look at a guitar and think, right, that's going to suit a pipe tune, or do you look at a flute here and think, right, this is going to suit better? How do you look at it musically?
Yeah, I mean, um, I kind of I guess I just play what I want to hear. I don't
Mm,
feel like to be honest, I don't feel like I put a Herculean amount of effort into it
right.
because
Huh.
because like all my videos basically have like two instruments in them,
Mm.
or maybe it's whistle and guitar,
Yeah.
or pipes and guitar, or even guitar and guitar, but rarely do I have three or four instruments. It just kind of like the effort kind of exponentially increases as you go. So usually what I do with those videos is I figure out what tune I want to play, and then for a long time I was playing the guitar first, and I would
Right.
kind
I
of
see.
like I'm thinking about the tune in my head as I'm playing guitar, and then playing just kind of the chords I think are going to work over it, and then I go back and I play over it with the chanter or the pipes or the electric pipes or whatever it might be, or the whistle.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, in my mind, Matt, I had this vision of like music stands everywhere, and you had a chord chart. A chord
Am I
chart.
ruining
You
it?
had the tune on another one, and you're like reading off two different charts at the same time, and then there's like three cameras and a mic, but it's just again, it's improvised. Yeah.
It's improvised. Everything is
Wow.
improvised. Yeah.
It's amazing. Well, I don't know.
Am I ruining it for you?
Not at all. No, that's incredible. If anything,
Yeah.
what I really love sometimes is I know people don't do this when they're watching YouTube clips and stuff. They don't look at the notes and stuff below, but you actually give a rundown of the gear that you've used and the kind of
Sometimes.
how you put the tune together and stuff like that. So yeah, for folks who haven't checked out Matt's YouTube channel, seriously, do yourself a service and go and have a watch at it, and then come and blame me whenever you've wasted hours and hours and hours watching all these videos. They're absolutely brilliant. So yeah, thank
I'm
you,
addicted
Matt.
to YouTube myself. My pleasure. Absolutely. That's what it's for. I just want people to have something that they can latch onto a little bit and have some fun. And yeah.
They're fantastic. If anything, I think at this point, for those listening to the podcast right now and for those watching the video at home, we'll maybe drop in a little clip here of that little video. That'll be brilliant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Matt, can we chat about your band then? Because you guys have a bit of an exciting gig coming up, Celtic Connections. Bailach, can you tell us about the band?
Yeah, so myself on pipes and guitar and whistles, and then Wendy MacIsaac, who's no relation actually. She's from Cape Breton, the other side of Cape Breton kind of thing. She plays the fiddle and step dances, and then Maddie Rankin, who plays in the outside track as well over there. She plays fiddle and step dances, and then Mac Morin on the piano and the accordion sometimes. Yeah, so. The band's been around as Biola for about 20 years, and has been overseas quite a few times playing. We were in Celtic Connections. We were over for Piping Live quite a few times. I should say that.
Yeah.
Celtic Connections. I don't know if some of us were in the Unusual Suspects in Celtic Connections in 2016. That was a really fun gig. But anyway. Biola, they've been around for 20 years. I've been part of the band for the last 4 or 5. We just made an album. An album came out 2 years ago called All Hands that we're pretty proud of. It's done pretty well, and we're going to be over there with Braybach in January playing a ripping show.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this. So we actually have the website up now on our YouTube video if you're watching this at home. But yeah, for folks listening to the podcast, go to CelticConnections.com now and you can get the full listings of the festival. But yeah, your own specific concert is going to be held on the 26th of January.
That's right.
So you're going to be sharing the stage here with Braybach, but this is not the first time you've been on stage with these guys. Is that right?
No, we did an artist in residence kind of project at Celtic Colors Festival in Cape Breton in 2019. And that was a total blast because we got to play a few concerts with them. We did, our own kind of sets, and then we'd get together at the end and play there was 10 people on stage, and there's 3 sets of pipes, and it was crazy. It was so fun. We just had a blast, and we all get along like a house on fire, and it's great. It's such a really natural meeting kind of thing, So we're really happy to hear about that whole thing happening.
I was very excited whenever I heard about the announcement. I was thinking, "Oh, this will be good," because I'm already a fan of Braybach and their dual bagpipe sound.
Oh, they're massive, good,
so good. And I've been listening to you guys now for the last number of months, and I'm absolutely a fan. So to have 2 of my both favorite trad bands on stage at the one time, oh my god!
Who knows what will happen? Look at it.
Yeah. It's gonna be so good. So for those,
so you'll be at the show.
Well, that's
we'll see you at the show. Awesome.
I'll have to go. It's almost compulsory. Yeah.
Nice.
So for those listening, then go and check out Celtic Connections website. All the details of all the concerts and stuff, including this one. All tickets are available now, so go and grab them. Grand. So I have to hear more about the man behind the legend, I should say. And yeah, we have a bunch of questions actually. What do you do to relax? Have you any hobbies away from music? Do you play video games, play
Yeah,
soccer? I don't
sometimes.
know. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. I have a 7-year-old son, so that's a hobby
Oh, that'll
in
keep you
itself.
busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that keeps me busy. Yeah, he's awesome. He's watching Muppets right now, actually, while we're doing this.
Brilliant.
And he and I are right now. We're watching the Marvel movies in the timeline order right now. So all
nice.
the superhero movies. Yep, we're 2/3 of the way through that now. I like. What do I do? I don't know. Not a whole lot. I kind of just want to veg and watch a movie most of the time. The school is very busy, and home life is very busy, and have an old house that always needs something done. So whatever it is. Sometimes I just sit here with my chanter and just rip off some tunes with a metronome. That's how I relax.
There you go. Yeah. I was just going to ask that sometimes musicians just play music to relax too. Yeah. So
sometimes, yeah.
There you are. Fantastic. Yeah. Now, this is we ask a couple of Big Rab Show staples. Every guest that comes on the show doesn't get to avoid this. So you're not going to get to avoid it either, Matt, unfortunately. So can you tell us then, in all of your history of playing in the piping scene, has there been one moment that stands out to you as being your most memorable? It's a big question.
It is a big question because you could say it could be memorable for
a lot of reasons.
Good reasons.
Good and bad.
Oh man. Yeah. I feel like there's one story that I have to tell you. And it's memorable because it's insane. It's a crazy story. And it's not really memorable because it was a good experience. There's two. Uh-oh. You know what? I'll start with the first one. The one of the most enjoyable and fulfilling experiences I ever had was sitting beside Brian Finnegan from Fluke in the Unusual Suspects, because we were sitting in that that big orchestra of trad musicians. Mm-hmm. I got to sit beside Brian for a week and listen to him play with him, and it was crazy. So that was just like, that was a bucket list kind of thing for me. But
he's an incredible musician. Yeah, that would have been some experience.
He's another planet. He's one of those. He's one of those guys. Yeah. Beautiful man. Such a nice person too, and just full of music and full of life, and wants to give music all the time. So that's one of my favorite moments for sure.
Awesome.
But I have to tell you the story about being on tour with a guy named Aaron Carter.
Oh.
Now, Aaron Carter, do you know who Justin Bieber is? Yeah. Everyone knows who Justin Bieber is. So, Canadian boy, kind of, he's the king of pop kind of thing. Maybe. And years ago, in 2002, there was a kid named Aaron Carter. So his brother Nick was in the Backstreet Boys, who were massive.
Oh, Nick Carter, yeah, of course.
Nick Carter, yeah. So his younger brother Aaron was kind of like the Justin Bieber of the early 2000s, and he was huge. He was huge in North America anyway, and he was playing like massive stadiums. So I'm on tour with him. Mm-hmm. Now, why would I be on tour with him? Some people might ask, and I would ask myself the same thing. And I was at the time, because I was in another band in the early 2000s. The first band I joined, actually, called Coolin', which was like a Celtic rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was so big at that time. So we went down to the States. I was 19, 20, and we toured all over the US in a van and a big trailer. Actually, Maddie Rankin, who's in viola with me now, was in that band with me. That's where I met her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we I'm going to try to make this story as short as I can. So we were on tour with this band, and I had a visa through this band called an O1, which was a really important visa, a work visa to get in the US. Not many people had them. I had them in the band just because I'd won some piping prizes, and they kind of latched onto that for visa purposes. So that's fine.
See, yeah.
So after that band stopped, the tour manager called me up and said, "Listen, I'm going on tour with Aaron Carter. We need someone to bring the dancers in to the country because they don't have visas. And you do. So you're going to be the opening act, and you're going to bring them in. You're going to play like at the beginning of the show, and they're going to do a dance routine to you playing electronic bagpipes or whatever."
Yeah, yeah.
So I get down there, and we have the first couple of rehearsals, and it's a 7-week tour. I was going to join them for 7 weeks, and it was like, you know, the big stadiums where they have hockey games, football games, and stuff. It's like 20,000 seat stadiums, and they're all sold out. It was nuts. And the first show, I'm supposed to get out and do this thing. So what happened is that the dancers all of a sudden like bagged off, and they weren't going to do any of it. Yeah, like we get down there and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we didn't actually put anything together, so you're on your own.
Oh my word! No.
I was like, okay. So, so they said, okay, they had like the backing band was like Janet Jackson's guys and Michael Jackson's guys and Harlan Funkadelic, and like it was all really like heavy players. And then the Britney Spears choreography coach and like all these big industry people were sitting in this little like, you know, production setup and watching what I was supposed to be doing. Like, okay, let's run your number now. Oh, okay. I'm not a performer, Rap. Like I'm not an entertainer, I should say. I play pipes and kind of, you know, like everyone else goes in the zone, they stare off in the distance and they play.
That's it. Yeah.
That's me. So so I had electric pipes and I had a wireless setup, and it's a huge setup, huge stage, massive big rig. There was like 5 trucks and 4 buses on this tour, and rigging everywhere and a big crew. So I go out to the front in front of this black curtain, and you know, I'm just like, they're like, okay, move and try to look like you're having fun. And I thought, I am trying to look like I'm having fun. So they're like, yeah, I've seen all these people, like these choreography coaches and stuff. They're like, okay, yeah. Well, let's just run it tonight and see how it goes. Okay. So we get to the show. There were 3 opening acts. 3? No, 2. Lindsay Picano, who I haven't heard of since, and then Dream Street, who was another like boy band kind of thing. This is hilarious. So the show starts, the first opening act, and then the lights go up. The lights come on, and everyone goes and gets concessions and buys T-shirts and stuff. Yeah. And they all come back. The lights go down, and all the Dream Street fans, you know, they go crazy, and it's all adolescent and teenage girls and moms, and there's hardly any boys or men or males or anything around. So it's all females, and the sound that 20,000 adolescent and teenage girls can make when they're excited is ridiculous. It's otherworldly. It's like a howl that just kind of reaches this crazy crescendo. So they're cheering for Dream Street. So they come on, they do their thing. The lights come on, and they all leave again. And then the lights go down, like Justin Bieber, so they're just losing their minds. But who comes out though? It's not Aaron Carter, it's me. And I'm playing the electric bagpipes. And all of a sudden, so random. Like there's all these signs, and the kids are going wild, and then they see me in the spotlight, and they're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And the whole like the shriek and the howl just goes whoa. No. And it's totally silent, and you hear like, you can just hear them talking and stuff, and you can see them like,
who's this guy?
You know,
what's going on?
What is this guy doing? Not even who is it? And I wasn't singing. I wasn't doing anything. I was just playing this weird stick to a track and walking back and forth because I didn't know what else to do.
Wow.
And you could hear like up in the nosebleeds, like one person out of 20,000.
Worse. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh my God. It was, I mean, now that I'm, 41, I probably have more fun with it because it'd be ridiculous. But at the time, I was just like, get me out of here. It felt like it was 3 minutes, and it felt like an hour. just the worst. Oh,
man,
I got off
must have had
stage.
nerves of steel. I would have crumpled.
Well, I crumpled inside. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just it's ridiculous. And then I just ended up like I went to his manager and I said, "Look, you can send me home and fire me, but I can't do that again. That was terrible." She goes, "Yeah, we're not going to do that again. So you just go stand up with the go stand up with the backup singers and just do whatever you want for the next 7 weeks." I said, "Okay."
Wow.
So so I just stood up there and I played, made up my own little lines for the songs and played whistles and played whatever. Yeah,
improvised over the top of stuff. There you go.
Yeah,
Did what you do best. Exactly.
Anyway, that's a long goofy story, but
that's fantastic. Honestly, what an experience, man. Yeah. So there's another Big Rab Show staple. So I have to ask every guest, Matt MacIsaac, what is your favorite cheese?
Cheese? Well, I'd have to say Beamster.
Ooh, I haven't had that one.
Ooh,
it's like look for that.
It's like 3-year-old aged Gouda, like hard cheese.
See.
Nice. Like Beamster XO or something. It is ridiculous.
I'll have to look for
that. You thought I was going to say cheddar, didn't you?
Yeah, well, most people do. A nice mature cheddar or something.
I do. I love sharp cheddar, but Dutch Beamster is my favorite.
I'll have to look that up for sure. That's a good one.
Try that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
Eat this.
Oh, well, Matt, honestly, we could have you here chatting on the show for hours, man, but I have to let you go. I have to say, I'm a huge fan. And for those folks out there who have not checked out your music, they're really missing a trick. Do you want to mention a bit of a shameless plug at this point? Any points of contact, websites for people to go and check you out?
You know what? Just go to the YouTube channel and fire me a note there. Honestly, Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook, and that's an easy way to send me messages. I'm not great at responding to messages really timely, but I do try. And I don't have a website at the moment. I don't have really anything. Just kind of YouTube channel. I'm trying to put out some videos more and more now. With this last one that I put out, I'm going to try to put another one out pretty soon. But just follow me on Facebook and give the YouTube channel a listen, I guess, and
fantastic
see you down
stuff.
the road.
Yeah, indeed. So, Matt, hopefully we'll get you back on a future Big Rab show. Hope this is not the last we've seen of you on the pod. But honestly, mate, I can't wait for Celtic Connections. It's going to be epic. So for those folks out there, we'll just put this up on screen again. Actually, for those who are looking to get tickets, go to CelticConnections.com right now. Grab tickets for this gig with Braybrack and Bellick. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, Matt MacIsaac, thank you so much for chatting to us here on the Big Rab Show pod, and we'll hopefully see you again.
Thanks, Rab.
Take care.
My pleasure.